Giving thanks for Sister PJ. Give thanks for her for that. Shay. Um, so today's session, we're gonna go over some powerful information. Before we do we have two parts that we will be doing today. We're gonna be going over the SPA and community protection through our firearms and all that good stuff, services. But before we do that, I want to go over some information in regards to community and neighborhood. And one of the information I'm gonna share for today is what's the difference between a community and a neighborhood? Very, very important to know what's the difference between a community and a neighborhood. You know, when I have some images to show y'all, but there's some information that I wrote down here just to tap into some of the science on community and neighborhood, the difference between community, common unity, and neighborhood. So the first thing we see here is community, compound word, right? Community, common unity. When we look at community, we see what? A village, we see village. You know, say they got this concept, it takes a village to raise a village. You know, it takes a village to raise a village, raise a child. In a community, a common unity. Also in a community, you know, you have work. There's work to be done in the community. Giving thanks, you know your worth, you know your value, so you know your work. So everybody have a mission in the community, mobilizing community. Also, we have handling your handle your business, mind your business. So in a community, in a village, everyone is handling their business. Everyone is playing a major part to maintain the common unity in that village, build a value up, their mind and their business, focus. So within that community, we also have what they call school of life empowerment. You know, schooling, you know, they say, honor your mother and your father, you know, for your days to be longer and stronger. Those science, those are principles. We learn the whole homeschool principle, all that comes from the school of life, which empower the community, the village. Also, we have the common law verified by elders within the community. So when we talk about laws and how to govern oneself within a community, you know, we got the common unity and we have our elders, which is the wisdom, pass the knowledge down so we can have a better understanding. You know, in a community, you're an asset in a village, you're an asset in your household. So it's up to you to show that power. It's your job to show that power in your village, in your household, being that you're an asset. That's very, very important to know. Being an asset, being valued within your village, your community. The whole lawful science of your community, your company represents you, you represent your company. That's a community. That's where we have common unity. Each one teach one. Sharing is caring, that whole concept. It takes a village to raise a village. Your circle, you know, positively productive towards a righteous path. So within a community, everyone have their common goal and their collective goal that they move towards common unity, the community, the village. So we give thanks for those who understand the concept of building villages, common unity. You know, in the community, we also say your problems are exempt, you know, which in a community, just like stockholders, you are considered a shareholder. You're considered a shareholder. So these are some of all the different concepts when it comes to community, common unity, which is a compound word. So we give thanks. When we see community, we see all these different words that we see here, which represent building a stronger community. You know, when we talk about neighborhood now, you know, you know, we say village and neighborhood. This is what they call a neighborhood. This is what a neighborhood would look like. Some people call it a community, but we're gonna go into that in a bit. When you see the visual right here. Community, village, neighborhood, blocks, square. You see all the squares, right? So when we understand the difference between community and village, we go into now what is a neighborhood. Now, when we look at the different aspect of neighborhood, which is a compound word, neighbor and hood, right? The hood, we want to convert the hood back into a common unity. In the neighborhood, you have tribes. You have tribes, you know, which what they call AKA sets. And again, when you look at, you know, the neighborhood in this aspect right here, you can see, you know, this person run this block here, this one is over here, you can't go over here, this is my set over here, all that whole concept of sets. And this is where the whole concept of gangs come in that sense, you know, outside of everything else. Of course, you have in a neighborhood, you got to look for a job, you know, a creature of the state, you know, you got to look for a job, just over broke. So in a neighborhood, while one is looking for a job, you know, in a community, one knows their worth. So they're working for a better purpose in their community. You also have the looking for work concept, the job hunting, you know, one job hunting. When we look at that too, let's see some image here. Look at the village right here. You know, when we talk about the village, the tribe, you know, the tribe and everyone represent for the tribe. When we look at, you know, community, everyone working within a community, playing part, people growing their food in the garden, community growing food. You know, you might have one of the elders showing how to sew for clothes. You might have one of the other elders showing how to build up a shelter and whatnot. These different things in for the betterment of the community, the common unity. You know, so when we look at, again, the difference between neighborhood and community, let's go back into neighborhood, the job hunting whole concept. You know, you hunting for job. What image we have there for that? The job hunting. You know, this is what happens when, you know, after a long day at work, right? This is what happens after a long day at work, right? This is when one is building and working for a purpose within a community. You know, we're gonna build a dam here. We're gonna grow our food over here. Common unity, everybody working for a common unity. You know, you're looking for a job, you job hunting, we hiring. We're hiring. Who's hiring? We're hiring. So these things that, you know, we see when it comes to neighborhood and community, let's bring it back. Now we go into, you know, the whole concept of public. You know, we talk about in the community, you have your school of life that empower you, your homeschooling, where now in a public school, you know, in the neighborhood, you have your public school, with a whole different ball game. You know, one must have to go through a commercial rites of passage, be licensed, certified, you know, all the commercial legalities when it comes to the public, you know, the paperwork that need to be completed before one can proceed in these procedures. You know, when we talk about homeschooling and, you know, it takes a village to raise the village, you know, we give thanks to all those parents who go out there and have homeschool system to educate their children and others, you know, on some of those sacred knowledge, those tools. You know, when we see, again, some of these tools in the village, and in the community, they teaching you about the elements. You know, some of these things they may not show you in school. You know, so we salute to all of our homeschooling. The public school, you know what goes on. Salute to all the teachers. 25, 30 students that's in the neighborhood. You know, teacher have to deal with all that. So much things happen in there, you never know. Never know what can happen in the public. And the other thing about that is, you know, that's outside. When we look at it, you're liable for anything that occurs in the hood. Yes, you're liable for anything that happened here So some of these concepts of what's the difference, we had a powerful meeting the other day, what's the difference between the community and the neighborhood. I felt like it's important for me to, break this down and share this, especially Powerful Pioneers. Salute to the Community Resource Center, providing resources and services for the community, for our families, for businesses, for community leaders. We give thanks. Let's continue with neighborhood. In neighborhood, what we see again, you're liable for anything that happens. You got to understand the legalities in a neighborhood. You might get a ticket for something. In a village, what ticket you getting? You're gonna get a ticket in the community. You outside your circle, you outside the norms. In a community is different. When we say in the neighborhood, you have diseases, full of diseases, dis-ease. Our people is dis-ease. They need help. The hood is disarray. You can get trapped in the hood if you don't know. You got neighbors who are stagnations in some of the neighborhoods. So you have to go back into the community where it takes a village to raise a village. In the neighborhood, what you have, tax exemption. You can understand some of the dynamics when it comes to the creature of the state, to be exempt from all these taxes, understand the science of money management, commercial, everything's commercial in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Now, again, when we go back to the community, this is what we thrive for, building stronger, powerful communities. We give thanks. So much stores and restaurants, but yet people are still hungry. Is that in the community or in the village? In the community, we're gonna grow our food. We're gonna teach others to grow their food, put their hand in the soil, in Mother Earth, the earth element. In the neighborhood, the store closed, restaurants not hiring no more. You know what happens. So many churches and wellness centers and nonprofit businesses and other organizations, but yet still our people lack the spirit reality of life. They're not in the spirit of things. In the neighborhood, you see how people look in distress and whatnot. In the communities, we have things that we can do to build up our people, give them that inspiration, let them get back into the spirit of things. We give thanks. So many new businesses erected, created every day, but still many people are unemployed. So many businesses are being created. Still unemployment happening in the community. Things that we should be mindful when it comes to community and neighborhood. So many salons, barbershops in the neighborhood, yet there's not too many specialized schools to create more powerful businesses or powerful business unity within the community. So what's the difference between community and neighborhood? That's one of the questions I throw out there. Good conversation to have with the family, and definitely salute to Powerful Pioneers. Powerful Pioneers, community of resource, services, and network. Check out the website, powerfulpioneers.com, powerfulpioneers.com. Anyone need any resources for their family, their communities, their business? We're here. Any services, any workshops, any specialized products, inventors, let's go. And again, network to get work. We give thanks. Peace and love, everyone. Power. Ashe.